Brought to you by Create 2 Media. It's the Father Son Talk Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Father Son Talk Sports Show. This your boy Paul here with Dad to me, Paul to you.
Hey everyone.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, we're kicking off 2022. Not the way that I was looking to do it, actually, but the Browns were kind of going out with a whimper right now. I know we had a lot of injuries. It was a really tough season. But most of all, out of the quarterback position, it seems like we could have got more productive play out of our quarterback, especially if he was hurt. Then maybe he should have sat down a little bit earlier, but he's deciding to shut it down now with one game to go. So I thought it was important that maybe, we could just kind of recap the season up until this point, since he, played every game except for one when Keenum got to get in against the Broncos, and he was able to get the job done. So what do you think, Pop? Because I know we talked a lot about this, about what really happened this year, and what was your feelings from that standpoint?
Oh man, I mean, overall it's been a thoroughly disappointing season. I didn't think that it would end this way. I believe that this is a playoff team still to this day. And I believe that a lot of the responsibility has to lay in Baker Mayfield's hand, as well as Coach Stefanski.
Yeah, because, Stefanski, I believe that, he just didn't. It seems like Mayfield was making the decisions about playing, even though he was hurt. I don't know. I didn't have a torn labrum before, but I'm pretty sure that it's a pretty debilitating, injury. Isn't that the same thing that Drew Brees had? It was in his throwing shoulder, but this is in Mayfield's non-throwing shoulder, which, again, it has to be tough. Clearly it was tough because, he missed people consistently, and I just don't see how a healthy Keenum, who's, I believe, the highest paid backup in the game, wasn't a better option at some point this season so that we can try to salvage what we had.
And see, I agree with that statement. I believe that Baker Mayfield, trying to play through this injury, he really did not help the team nor himself. When I say himself, he was looking forward to a contract extension this year, which to me shouldn't be forthcoming. Yeah. And on top of that, it doesn't make any difference if it was a coaching decision or Baker Mayfield making the decision. The zero sum of everything is just a disappointing season.
Oh, yeah. And I like the way you put it the other day. When you called it, because you talk about Mayfield's toughness, and you called it, fake tough. Like you're either productive hurt, or you're just hurting the team and you're not really doing anything. And that's what I felt like we went through for this whole season. It was like, yeah, it was great to be tough and to try to play and try to tough it out, but he really hurt us. So it wasn't really, it's only tough if you're winning or if you're being productive. But if you're not, it's kind of like false bravado, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. I thought that if he was tough, he would finish the season. It's just one more game remaining. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense for Case Keenum to play right now.
No.
On top of that, I'm quite sure he's no more injured now than he was then.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of interesting. I think when I use the term fake toughness, fake toughness is when an individual displays toughness, but when the times get tough or the end of the road is near, he's willing to back out. And I have a feeling by him going public and announcing that his agent and his family had made that decision and not the team, I thought that was just asinine. I didn't understand it. You started this season, you got injured in week 2. So you basically started the season with the same injury. The same injury, of course, persists but yet you were steadfast on playing all the previous 16 games, and you might as well finish it.
Yeah, because I don't even know why was he playing last week. I mean, when he against the Steelers, why? Like, to me, that didn't even make any sense. I mean, it was a meaningless game. Obviously, he was hurt. But I was listening to something when I was riding around today, and they were talking about, if he was under contract, they may have been more apt to protect their investment versus, not, because right now he's not under contract. So they probably was like, well, we need to see more, like you was talking about what you put on tape. And obviously the tape from this year is not going to be too great. It's just a tough scenario, man. I really hate to be back in this boat because, I mean, this kind of sucks. It's like going back to square one with the quarterback when you have to question whether you have that guy or not. And we've talked a lot. And we have a lot of tape at this point, in Mayfield's career where, if it's 2 minutes to go, he's just not that guy. He's not going to win that game. And there's a lot of quarterbacks in this league where if you give him 2 minutes or a minute and a half and he has the ball in his hand, he's probably going to win the game or pull it out. So, I don't know. That's tough, bro.
Yeah, to find ourselves in a situation where we're questioning the quarterback position after having the number one draft pick just a couple years ago to acquire him, I mean, it's troubling. Like I said before, I don't think that Baker Mayfield has put anything on tape to garner a long-time contract. He just hasn't. And injury or not, the tape speaks for itself, and you have to live with that. And I believe that the Browns going forward have put themselves behind the 8 ball, no matter who's made the decision for him to play hurt or whoever has coached him into the performances that he's had. Yeah. It's just a systemic failure at this point. And for us to go into the next draft, even having to think about a quarterback could possibly put this franchise back years to come. I'm not really sure exactly where we go forward. I just thank God that he didn't sign his long-term contract. Getting back to your first statement.
Yeah.
Right. And here's one more thing, and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah.
It's not the franchise's it's not their duty to protect his salary.
No,
what I mean by that is you were putting him out there so that he can garner a long-time contract. Doesn't make any sense to me. I think I heard the same comment on the radio. And I'm just not one of those believers. The Browns don't owe Baker Mayfield anything. He's been paid well since he entered as the number one pick in the draft. And to be honest with you, when the fourth quarter comes and we're behind, we already know that the outcome is not going to be pretty because it doesn't make any difference if it's 2 minutes left and we need 3 points or 7 points. We know that it's not going to get done by him. And the injury really has nothing to do with that.
That's where, I mean, I was contentious the other day. I was saying, man, I mean, I know that right now we're evaluating him in a hurt state, and I hate to do that to him, but at the same time, like I'm saying, it's a conscious decision on his part or Stefanski's part or whoever's part to have him out there. And like you were saying, I mean, you put it great when you said, I mean, if you're on the field, there's no excuses. You're putting this on tape. I mean, that this is what is going on tape. This is what you're being evaluated on. And if you're not in position to put out the best tape possible, then maybe you shouldn't put yourself in that position. And he did. He put that on himself week in and week out. And that's why it really doesn't sit well to me that with one game left, and especially him playing last week when we knew we were playing for nothing. So for him to just say, okay, I don't want to play against the one team in the that's coming up, up and coming. I mean, Burrow is already probably the class of the AFC North as far as a quarterback is concerned.
Well, he's definitely trending in that direction.
Yeah.
And even though I think I read where he's not even playing Saturday.
No.
Right. Well, that's a whole different scenario than Baker Mayfield deciding to opt out of the last game of the season. Baker Mayfield, 1 week of surgery is not going to make any difference.
No.
It's just not going to make any difference in this situation.
No.
And I think that the false bravado that he displayed all season, and I'm calling it false.
Yeah.
Right. He should have finished what he started.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he decided to opt out to use his family and his agent as the reason for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's asinine because you shouldn't look at neither one of those entities first before the team when you're playing football, when you're getting paid by the Cleveland Browns.
And here, now, obviously, I mean, we both agree. I mean, it sucks. But I'm, I'm always optimistic. So I'm always, that's part of my either strength or weakness, whichever you want to call it. But we have to move forward. So how do you think we get better from this point forward? And do you think that Mayfield will be a part of those plans going forward? Because, and the reason why I keep bringing him up, and I hate that because I know that we wanted to kind of recap the season as a whole, but he's a major part of it. Your quarterback is a major engine as to what you're going to do on any given year. You get competent quarterback play, you're going to go far. You don't get competent quarterback play, you're not going to do too much. So that's the reason why I believe that there's so much emphasis put on him, because I believe you have the pieces around him to that, like championship type pieces. I mean, Nick Chubb is a one of the best backs in the NFL.
All-pro running back.
Yeah, Garrett is an all-pro defender. You have Ward, as a Pro Bowler. I mean, we have pieces, foundational pieces surrounding this quarterback.
You have the offensive lineman.
Oh yeah, well we didn't even get there.
Listen, Baker Mayfield has got to carry a large brunt of this responsibility. And I'm going to explain this as simple as I can. With the running game that he has, the play action passes, the windows are wide open. The vision that he displays to be able to see the field is below average. It just is. He can get locked onto a receiver, and if that receiver comes open, he can hit him with a pass. But if that breaks down, his feet get antsy in the pocket.
And he double clutch.
Bad decision. He'll force the ball to the next option, and that just doesn't work for him.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to go that far. Just look at Odell. Odell went on to flourish with limited time with the Rams. He didn't have an off season. He didn't have training camp. He didn't have any type of rapport. He just went in, they plugged him in, and they were able to unlock whatever he had to give. And I think that's what gives me the biggest pause, is that Odell actually thrived without him. And everyone, you can't even evaluate the receivers that you currently have because you don't know how they're getting the ball delivered to them. You just don't know.
I mean, it's a situation, like I said, where the preponderance of the blame has got to go on Baker Mayfield. Yeah. It can't even go on the person that's making the X's and O's, that's making the game plans. Right now, his quarterback play is substandard.
Yeah. So far.
Period.
I mean, it's too substandard.
It's not average. It's below average.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I mean, I guess a better question for us is, can he be coached to be better? That's a better question. And to me, that answer is Possibly not.
Yeah, because you brought up yesterday, you said he has bad instincts.
He has bad football instincts for a quarterback.
You can't teach instincts. That's what I do know.
You cannot teach feel and instincts.
No.
You can teach X's and O's. You can teach footwork.
Yeah.
But at any point, footwork stops, and you have to go by your instincts. If it's a 5-step drop, you do your 5 steps. You go through your reads, you throw the ball. Well, if you can't go through the reads because your instincts are not good, you can't feel the pass rush around you. You can't feel where the opening is for a short quarterback like him to be able to throw in between windows. Then I'm not sure you can teach that. That's something that should be innate in him. Him and Drew Brees are the same size. But Drew Brees had the instincts. He had it at Purdue. Where he could throw in between those windows and spot open receivers. Baker Mayfield had 4 or 5 batted down passes at the line of scrimmage by the Steelers. That's not supposed to happen.
Well, most criminal of it all is the fact that he took 9 sacks. And in watching that game, I mean, when I say he took 9 sacks, he caused a lot of those sacks. Now, he did have some inexperience at the right tackle position because Conklin wasn't in there. We had the rookie in there trying to block TJ Watt. I get that part. But he stepped up when there wasn't a pocket. He tried to break free when we know he can't break free. We know first of all, where are you going? Because you're not fast enough to break free. Exactly. That's why I never understand, like, when he rolls out and he's like he's throwing the ball down the field, it's always something bad. It's never a good thing when you see him
pump fakes the ball.
Yeah, when he pumped, because
after that fake, the play is over and nothing good is going to happen.
Nothing good. And I remember you saying, because you was like, when we drafted him, you said, man, he's like the ultimate, you give him a game plan and he can execute it. That's when he was, with Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley. And it makes perfect sense because he was hitting crossers. He was hitting, it was in motion. Like, he was hitting it on time. He wasn't doing anything in Oklahoma off schedule. Everything was on schedule in Oklahoma. That's why it was so efficient. But in the NFL, when he has to read, then it's not as inefficient. Like when you take a 3-step drop, as soon as the back foot hits, the ball's out. If the ball is out, his completion percentage is far, it's up. But when he hits that top of that break and at that top of that drop and he has to read and he stutters for a second, it got to be close to 0%. He's not completing that ball. It just ain't happening.
And that's why he can't win in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Because they ratchet up the pressure.
Same reason. I mean, his feet get antsy if his first read is covered. And in the NFL, you can't be a quarterback.
No.
That cannot go past your first read.
No. You just can't.
It looked disastrous. It was disastrous. I'm a zero-sum type of person. There's no excuses to be made. He's the one that put those games on tape. He's the one that threw 4 interceptions our last game, a crucial interception. He threw 4 interceptions the game before the last game, and he had 9 sacks the last game he played against the Steelers. So there are no excuses for that.
No. I mean, there
are no excuses for that.
No, my short recap for this whole thing is that if we would have been better off if he was hurt to let him sit or go get surgery or do whatever he had to do, start Case Keenum, and we would have got more competent quarterback play out of a competent quarterback to begin with, but a healthy one. And I believe that our roster was a playoff roster. We had a defense that was on the rise. I know it's not, lights out or number one or anything like that, but the defense was not the problem. The defense was still holding people where if we were scoring points or we had a competent offense, they would have definitely complimented them and we could have won some of those games. But we were scoring 10 points. We were scoring 14. I mean, we were struggling to score points, and it's hard to win in this league when you can't score, when you can't put touchdowns up. I mean, you just can't do it. So I really feel like, I kind of feel jaded, like we got sabotaged this year. That's how it kind of feels. It feels like the whole year didn't even happen. They wasted a year of Nick Chubb's career. They wasted a year of Myles Garrett's career. They wasted a year of Denzel Ward's. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, that whatever happened between Stefanski and Mayfield just cannot happen. It just can't. I mean, it was just criminal what happened.
I will go this far. Stefanski he has a certain amount of culpability in this.
100%.
And I'm going to tell you why. Regardless of injury or not, there were parts of the season where Baker Mayfield deserved to be benched.
Oh, yeah. Off of his play.
Injury or no injury.
Exactly. 100%.
And that did not happen.
Never. It was never talked about. Nothing.
I hold Kevin Stefanski culpable for that.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you look at the two people we're basically talking about, we're talking about the coach and we're talking about Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing that the Browns can afford to do at this present moment is to switch coaches.
Yeah.
That will be catastrophic to the point that it could ring a whole nother decade.
Yep.
But there's one piece to the puzzle that can be taken away from the equation or put into place in the equation, and that's Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Because another quarterback to perform that at a slightly higher level than him, or just at a competent level, should not be hard to find.
No. I mean, here, I could argue and say you could have got what you got out of Baker Mayfield out of any quarterback in the NFL. Anybody. Because of, I
agree.
I mean, anybody. I mean, you could have brought Jared Goff in here from the Lions. I don't mean to pick on Jared Goff, but you could have brought him in here. I guarantee you could have got the same or better production out of what you got in Baker Mayfield, and they might have made the playoffs still. Baker Mayfield is the sole reason why we will be watching January football and not playing January football.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. Your defense, they did nothing but get stifled all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many 3 and outs that they never got any rest.
No. And it's not fair.
They never got any rest.
Football is a complimentary game. The offense is effective so that the defense can be effective. If the offense goes 3 and out, the defense is constantly on the field. And what happens? In the fourth quarter, they wear down because, here, another 3 and out or another interception, another sudden change. Then they got to go right back in and try to find their groove and try to shut them down out of a bad position because the offense put them in a bad position. But it's really just one player putting them in that bad position. It's the person that's throwing the ball.
Do you realize, I mean, I've watched the tape, how many 8 men in the box, first down situations Baker Mayfield went through? What I mean by that is that the defense was only trying to stop the run.
Yeah.
They were single covering everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And he could perform no better than he did this season. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they carried this team offensively all year long.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing it against 8 men fronts because they didn't have a quarterback that was competent.
Yep. And here, and not having a competent quarterback makes your line worse. Your offensive line is worse because those same 8 men fronts that you talk about, you running into the teeth of the defense, there's more defenders than there are blockers. So,
absolutely.
So you have somebody free on almost every play. I mean, that is devastating. And then it's hard to pass block that way. It's impossible to run block that way. You have no space. I mean, it's it's just a bad scenario, man. I'm telling you, bad quarterback play makes every position on the roster look that much worse. Every position. So, of course, like I said, I didn't want to really center this conversation about one player. But, I mean, I guess when you really break it down, it just comes down to one player. And he has to either play better or not play here. Because we cannot afford, as a fan base, as a team, or whatever you want to call it, to go back into that type of hell where we're not getting competent quarterback play, and then we lose all of the pieces that we have garnered over these last couple of years.
And I would go this far. There is a distinct possibility that if Case Keenum would have been put into the lineup instead of Baker Mayfield, I believe we'd be in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that's what I said. I told you. I said that if Keenum, if they would have made the decision when the boy got hurt in week 3, if they would have said, you know what, he ain't right, we're going to shut him down, we're going to get him surgery, we're going to do whatever we're going to do, we're not going to go with this brace and all of this stuff. If they would have made that decision, here, you know what, I'll say week 7, week 8, it didn't even have to be right away. They could have had some time to evaluate to see how he performed under, with the injury. But after they saw that bad tape and they saw him missing Landry High, they saw him missing everything, and they saw him throwing interception after interception, not being the reason why we're winning the game and being the reason why we're losing the games, that's when the coaching staff and Stefanski, most importantly, should have made the decision and said, you know what, he's not getting it done. Let's let him get this injury together, get him some rest, and put Keenum in. Because I remember it was a pivotal stretch in the season where it was Ravens. We played the Ravens back to back, and I remember you saying that we should have rested him like before because it was sandwiched in between a bye. So when he played, well, Keenum could have played that week. That first Ravens game, you could have got a bye, and then you could have came back, and then Mayfield could have, you could have just, let it all hang out in that second Ravens game. But you could have maneuvered that bye a lot better to give his body a little bit of rest so that he can try to perform and try to do the best that he can do. But obviously, it didn't work, and we didn't do that.
Pablo, 2 pivotal games. The Raiders game and the Packers game.
Yep. Winnable game.
Both of those games
were
winnable with average quarterback.
Average.
Just average.
Not great. Average.
Paul, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not great.
Not Aaron Rodgers.
Not above average.
Not Aaron Rodgers.
Just average.
Not Tom Brady.
No.
Not Drew Brees.
No.
Not Matthew Stafford.
Not Aaron Rodgers.
No.
We're talking about. We're down there with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, like I said.
Derek Carr.
Yeah, Jared Goff.
Or Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. We ain't talking about Josh Allen. We ain't talking about Lamar Jackson. We ain't talking about Joe Burrow.
We ain't talking about Herbert.
Nope.
We ain't talking about Josh Allen.
Nope.
No, we're talking about Kirk freaking Cousins. Derek freaking Carr.
Yeah.
And then, I brought up another quarterback. At least he carried this team to the Super Bowl, which was Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan.
Right. Come on.
Yeah.
And I even go this far. And then I think we should leave this topic alone.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has showed more potential in one season than Baker Mayfield has shown in his whole career.
Yeah. Well, he had 2 seasons. Jalen Hurts has 2. He had 2 seasons.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, but I'm saying he showed potential last year, and then he came back this year and doubled down.
The second year.
Exactly, and like you were saying, it's all about what you put on tape. If you turn on Jalen Hurts tape, he is an impactful player. He is the reason why the Eagles have secured a playoff berth.
They soared.
Yes, they soared when he was in the game. It's not that way in Cleveland. When Baker Mayfield's in the game, he's not giving you the best chance to win.
And all those other quarterbacks, they don't give false bravado or false toughness.
No.
If they're injured, they don't sit up and let the world know and use it as an excuse. Man,
I get really emotional. As you know about the Browns, that's my number one, thing to do. It's my number one thing to cover and everything. But I'm telling you, I really feel like I'm beating a dead horse, and I hate that feeling because I really have nothing else to say except for thank you, Baker Mayfield, for it's not even an average season. I don't even know what to thank you for, but I just know that whatever you did, it sucked. And I've been your biggest supporter. I'm just talking to you one-on-one. If you knew that you couldn't do it, then why did you go out there and try to do it and hurt the team, hurt the fan base, hurt the people who love you? All the fans loved you. Now they all want to see you go because you went out there and you sabotaged an entire season with this false bravado.
And then on top of that, you're not even playing Sunday.
Yeah, so now it's not okay. So the Steelers game wasn't important anyway, but now this Bengals game ain't important the same way. But I'm gonna get a jump on surgery. Like we couldn't do this 7 weeks ago, so that the team could have moved on. That's what I'm talking about. See, it's not all about you. It comes down to about the team. That's a true bravado. That's a true champion. That's a true leader. And saying, you know what? You guys are good, man. I'm not here to hold y'all back. If I can help you in any way, I will. But right now, I can't. And that would have kept you in the circle with the fans. It would have kept you in the circle with your contract negotiation and everything else that you got going on. But since you want to just go ahead and do your thing, now it hurts you in contract negotiations. It makes your value. You lost millions. I don't know how many millions, but I guarantee you it's not going to be the same amount as if you would have not put that garbage on tape. But since you put it on tape, now you lost millions. You've lost the contract negotiations. You have basically lost the fan base. I mean, you have to come back and have an MVP type year in order to gain the fan base back. So, but no, I can't find, that's what my biggest problem is, that I'm trying to figure out who to blame for this. So I don't know if it's you or if it's Stefanski. But like my dad said, the only person that's not movable is Stefanski.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what you're going to do going forward, but my advice to you is to come back like gangbusters and work as hard as you possibly can and be the best that you possibly can be and make smarter decisions in 2022. That's just what I just had to get that off my chest because it became personal because, like I said, the one thing that I love, the one thing I love to do, the one thing I love to cover, I felt like was taken away from me for an entire season. And I didn't feel like that was fair. So
no, it wasn't fair. And the city of Cleveland is not going to take that lightly.
No.
If there's anything in this city that is loved beyond loved and revered, is the Cleveland Browns.
100%.
And the Cleveland Browns fan base can smell fake toughness.
Yep.
They can smell it.
Yep.
And right now, that's exactly what his whole aura smells like.
Exactly. Yeah. And here, I'm not saying, because like I said, you already know me. I'm uber optimistic. I'm not saying that you can't fix it. All I know is just like my boss tells me, and I know what you was thinking, Baker. Oh man, I'm trying. But my boss tells me every time I tell him, man, I tried, he says, trying is failing. That's just what he says. Because I work in a zero-sum business, and you work in a zero-sum business. You either did it, or you didn't do it. It's no two ways about it. It's not no in between.
Go Cavs.
Yeah. So now I gotta be go Cavs, because that's what you left me with. But I thank you for that. I mean, at least the Cavs are doing well. So, Dad, we're going to get into that. That was a great segue to get me off of this topic, because I swear I could talk forever about this, because it really upset me, as you can tell.
I'm going to say this just briefly. The reason I say go Cavs is because it gets back to that toughness and that bravado and that hard work ethic. See, they are displaying that. And they put it out every game. Every game. They don't make excuses when they lose. They put it out there every game. Not in a false way, not in a way that hurts the team, but it's them and it's a team.
You right there, but I'm telling you, I gotta get out this subject. I gotta get out this.
Okay, I got
and
you.
then here, I'm actually.
We will ever have to put on tape.
Exactly, but here, I enjoyed this show, but I'm telling you right now that now I'm going to enjoy doing these Cavs shows, and like you talked about, these Cavs teams. Just a brief little segue as we get into it though, but these Cavs teams, they are reminding me of the LeBron James teams when he first got drafted. You know how the excitement kind of built, like we started to win games and we started to be in the playoff conversation. And I remember watching all those games. Remember we had the playoff games against the Wizards and Gilbert Arenas, and it was really like we were establishing something. And that's how I feel right now, watching Evan Mobley, watching Darius Garland and everyone else that they have out there. That they are giving me that excitement like it was in the early LeBron days. So I will definitely look forward to covering that. But for right now, like I said, I got to get out. I got to get off this topic, and then we'll have to come back real soon with some Cavs talk, and kind of, and here we got to also do a show, a true recap show on the Browns, and put a bow on it, because you did have some standout performances. I mean, Chubb still had a phenomenal season. Garrett obviously had a phenomenal year, and Denzel Ward had a very great year as well. So I do want to give those guys their props on the next show, just to do a recap and I want to keep Mayfield out of that, because I can't do it no more. I just can't do it. So it is what it is. But here, but now it's Cavs and beyond, and I will get back with you soon, Pop, so we can get this Cavs talk started, brother.
I would love to, son.
All right, baby. Love you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, I love you, man. Everybody stay safe. Love you guys, and God bless.
God bless.
Peace. Brought to you by Create 2 Media. It's the Father-Son Talk Sports Show.